on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So in today's video, I'm going to be doing a full build breakdown on my 93 NA 1.6 Miata. Filmed this thing for about 4 years now, and ever since I bought it, I wrote down every single thing I've done to it. And it's kind of nice to have because I do forget a lot of the times of some things I've done. And I do have a lot of guys on TikTok and Instagram asking me what I've personally done to this car, and for the most part, it's a pretty simple setup, but it does get a little bit intrusive once you start getting into the motor setup. So I thought, why not make a video since my list is so damn long? I can sit here and talk about it for probably 30 minutes if I really wanted to. But I'm gonna try to keep it short and sweet because you guys don't really need to know that I did all the coolant hoses, all the new timing belt, water pump, oil pump, like maybe some things, but for the most part, it should be pretty simple. And for the guys that just wanna have a stock turbo Miata, this is, for the most part, my setup is the way to do it, and just keep it turned down a little bit, maybe with a little bit bigger of a turbo, and you should be good to go. So throughout this video, it's mostly gonna be me talking, but I am gonna add some clips in of the engine bay interior and the exterior so you guys can kind of see what I'm talking about as I'm going through it a little bit. And I might add in some pictures of the progress. Kind of throughout the years, I took a lot of pictures of me doing some things, kind of show you some parts, kind of show some stuff that you can't really see hiding. But we'll start off with the thing that really costed me the most and spent me the most time, hiding under the hood here, the engine. It's got a fully refreshed 1.6 long nose block with a fully refreshed head, just a stock head, nothing's crazy. The bottom end does have GTX B6T rods and pistons, new rings of course, ACL rods and main bearings, BP4W oil pump. It's got ARP head studs. So for the motor, that's pretty much it. Simple little setup, holds all the boost. Will make upwards of 300 to 400 if I really push it. It's just the head is really my limit at this point. Right now I only have 420cc injectors in it from an RX-8. Pretty simple setup for most of these Miata guys that plug in, they plug and play, tune them and change it up in the ECU. You're good to rip. I do have some 770s sit up on the shelf over here that I do want to install later on, so I can actually turn up the power in this thing and make upwards of 300. I would like 4, that would be nuts. So we'll see about that one day. For the turbo setup, it's just got a cast iron T3 cast log manifold pretty much. It's simple eBay setup. I think they're a couple $100. Takes all the heat and ain't gotta worry about it cracking. Will bolt most of the T3 turbos without any issues. Didn't have any issues with it interfering with anything in the engine bay. Should have enough room to build a downpipe in the back, or not pipe if you want to just send it right up the hood. I had that at one point. I did like it. It's a little loud, but I got tired of it, so put my downpipe back on. I do have a full custom 2.5-inch V-bend downpipe to the cat back, which is just a Manzu mid pipe, and I did have the axle back, but I got rid of it because I do kind of just like it dumped out the bottom and get a little bit of the turbo noise and makes it a little bit louder too. It has a 4850 eBay turbo. It's a pretty small thing for this 1.6, and it spools up pretty quick, which I do like, and I know I have the rods and pistons to actually handle it. I did have a 6063 on this at one point, and it did spool a lot later. So for you stock guys that want just a simple build, you ain't gotta worry about it making too much torque down low, 6063, slap it on there. You'll make enough boost at the top end to make it rip, and you'll have enough low end to not blow it up as well. It's running a Mega Squirt plug and play DIY kit, so pretty simple old ECU. I bought it a couple years ago. I do need to open it up a little bit and figure out how to wire in the TPS and the two-step, because it's one of those old models where you really have to sit there and solder in some wires. To handle all that power, it's got an ACT Stage 3 clutch. It's one of those full face disc clutch. I'm not really sure how if I'm a fan of those 6-puck clutches, because I think they have a little bit less of a contact patch. So I decided to go with the full face clutch, kind of just more peace of mind knowing that it has full contact patch at all times. New throw bearing, pilot bearing while I was in there, you know you gotta do it. It's got a full M-tune coolant reroute. For the guys that do buy this kit, please replace the thermostat, because the thermostat that comes in it will make your car run super hot. I threw it in this car, thing sat at 200, 220 all day long, could not get it to sit down any lower. Pulled the thermostat out, this thing will not go over 130 with the fans on. So just an FYI for you guys later on, if you actually want to do the coolant reroute kit, the M-Tune one, I know it's cheap. Just remember the thermostat is a killer. Let's see here. Just a eBay intercooler with 2.5-inch intercooler piping, just 90s, couple metal pipes going down and around. Pretty simple for the most part. It's got the BoFi Racing map delete to AIT sensor, just so it looks clean. All the wires are plugged in, ain't gotta worry about the plug. I also have their E36 BMW TPS conversion. Once I get that figured out in the ECU, I can actually get that hooked up. I'm just wanting it off math pressure right now. New clutch master, new slave, new clutch line, oil intake, oil pressure sensor, vacuum on, aluminum radiator, just a simple eBay aluminum radiator. Running the stock fans. Stock fans will be their best bang for your buck. They turn all the CFM that you're ever gonna need. The electric fans do not do good on these cars. I've ran it and I found out the hard way, being stuck at some random spots, being pulled over, letting this car cool down because it keeps getting too hot. Figured that out the hard way. So learn from my mistakes, just keep the stock fans. Unless you actually have a full shroud and really upgraded fans, don't swap them out. Just got solid engine mounts, solid Delran engine mounts. I think they're 40-50 bucks on eBay. Pretty simple. It actually raises up the oil pan a little bit too for you low guys that just want to get a little bit more clearance in there. New belts. Pretty much that's going to be covering up the engine bay here. We're going to scoot over down to like the suspension and kind of a little bit of the drivetrain. I got no-name eBay green coilovers. They came with the car. They actually been really good, so I haven't even swapped them. I haven't had any issues with them. And I actually bought the same exact coils for the MV Miata and got it laying frame. So I have no issues with these coils. They ride pretty good. They're a little soft for being on a super low car, but for a car that's raised up a little bit, they ride pretty good. And I haven't had any issues with them. Godspeed adjustable rear camber arm, so I can adjust the camber in the back because these things do get a lot of negative camber once you start lowering them down. I did a full manual rack conversion. This car was a factory power steering and AC car, but I did have to delete it all whenever I put the turbo kit in. The oil drain ended up running right in the way, so didn't end up working out, and I kind of was forced to delete it. So I did depower the rack at first, didn't really like it, felt a little sloppy over time. So I swapped over to a full manual rack conversion with a freshly rebuilt rack, Super Pro rack bushings, new inner tie rods with boots. I did the Circuit Sport outer tie rods, and I also did the 5X Racing rack spacer kit. So it kind of lifts up the subfront of the steering rack a little bit and kind of makes it a little bit more level with the knuckles, especially when you lower these cars, the arms kind of shoot way up, so you kind of want to straighten that out and lose a little bit of the bump steer. I also do have the Circuit Sport ball joints in the front. I think they add like 2 or 3 degrees of camber, kind of kick the bottom of the wheel out a little bit, and they are 40% stiffer than stock, so can't complain about that. It's got a welded 1.6 diff in the back. Somehow I blew up a diff downshifting. I don't want to worry about that. That's a story for another day. Brand new axles whenever I put that in. I did all brand new brakes, all new calipers and rotors, just because I've been having issues with one caliper seizing, one leaking, so I just decided to change them all, get it all done with. Did new destroyer die front extended brake lines, just so if I ever did an angle kit, I ain't gotta worry about that in the future. That's pretty much everything for underneath and the suspension on this car. We can scoot over to the interior. On the interior of this car, it's pretty factory clean interior for the most part. I just got some seats and a bunch of gauges pretty much. It's got a G-Racing short shifter with the G-Racing grip shift knob. Best shift knob and shifter on the market, I think personally. I think it's a 2-inch throw from first to second. Super notchy. Everyone hates it whenever they hop in there, but once they drive it, they change their mind every single time because they love it. If you're determined to go on any gear, it'll go in, don't worry. For the gauges I have in my triple pillar there, I have an AEM AFR gauge, I got a Bosch boost gauge, Autometer water temp gauge, yeah, and that's just to keep a good idea of what's going on with the motor, make sure everything's good, especially when I'm driving around, and just keep an eye. For my center gauge cluster where my speedo and everything is, I have the Simpson donut gauge faces. They're made by a gentleman named Bone Idol on Facebook. He hasn't made them in a few years. Last time I talked to him was about a year ago, and last I heard he wasn't making them anymore. But I do want to contact him again, see if we can actually start making some again, because I would like to upgrade mine. I'm getting kind of old of the Simpson ones. I got Replica Bride Lomax seats, eBay specials. They fit in there really good. I fit really nice in them. It's just L brackets to the factory sliders, so sliders all work. Everything's all adjustable still. Ain't gotta worry about that. Still have the factory seatbelts, so that's cool. Got yellow energy 5-point harnesses. So if I ever want to take it to track, already strapped in, good to go. I do have it for the passenger side. I just took them out because they kind of get a little uncomfortable for the passengers to ever ride in this car. I got a 330 energy wood grain steering wheel with a carbon fiber quick release and energy short hub. Pretty simple little setup. Matches the carbon fiber top, and everything looks clean. Just kind of gives it a little bit of a classy look. Got a hard dog harness bar. Hold the harnesses. I do want to get a roll bar eventually, but they're pretty pricey, and it's kind of hard to find one that will fit the hard top 100% before I buy it. I did a full custom Bluetooth radio setup, so if you ever look in there, it's just like a silver plate with a bunch of little knobs on it. Treble, bass, and volume, all you need. And then the center knob is just for some custom LEDs I have going throughout the car. Light up the car a little bit at night. It's got a dimmer switch, or you can turn them up and down. Maybe I'll send in a picture of the Bluetooth radio setup I have, because it looks pretty cool from the back, and not a lot of guys do it. And once you turn the key on, Bluetooth right to your phone, everything's connected, you ain't gotta worry about that. It's got JBL 6.5-inch speakers and tweeters. I did a Bride shift boot, just to clean it up a little bit. The new inner rubber boot, because a lot of heat likes to come out of there, especially when they're ripped. Mine was ripped, so replace that. That's pretty much all for the interior I have done to the car. We'll scoot to the exterior, really where she shows her glory. This kit, I've been gatekeeping for a while. A couple people have called me out on it. I haven't really said no, because I'm not going to disagree with them, because they were right. But I just don't want a lot of people running this kit, because it is different. Not a lot of guys know what it even is, or even seen it before, and it throws off the whole vibe of the car. It makes it look like a totally different car. So this is the NUE, I think it's new boxy over fender kit. I think it's 25 millimeters all the way around, and it's just an over fender kit. Throw it right over the factory fenders. I riveted mine right on. Do it however you want. I also have the fender cut on the front fenders. I got their V2 duckbill as well hiding back there. That's actually the second one I have, because someone decided to run into me and destroy my first wing, so I got that sitting up on the shelf over there. It's got a full carbon fiber hardtop. I actually picked that thing up for a super good deal recently. It's got a smoked Lexan window, and I do have a carbon fiber hardtop spoiler for it as well, just sitting up on the shelf over there. Once I get some rib nuts, I'm gonna actually bolt it through, so it's all invisible hardware. You ain't gonna see any of that. So the wheels, a lot of people ask me what wheels these are. To be honest, I bought them on eBay. Not a lot of people look on eBay for cool wheels. I do it all the time. This needs like my third or fourth set I bought off there. They've been really nice. I haven't had any issues. They're 15x8 plus 10 Artara Racing Watatambi reps. So they're multi-lugged. I think they're 4x114 and 4x100. So they would work on Nissan and Miatas. They're silver with polished lips. Got 195, 45, 15 tires all around. I do have 32 millimeter spacers up front and 25 millimeter spacers in the back, just to get it fitted up pretty nice and give it more of that aggressive look. For the side skirts, I have the GF style side skirts with the corner flare, so it kind of matches right up to the boxy style kit. Took a couple tries to figure out what style I wanted to go with it, especially with the boxy kit. It's kind of hard to find something to match up from the side skirt. A lot of them are kind of bubbly. It is wrapped in a gloss yellow from Cheetah Wraps, probably the cheapest wrap you can buy online, and is pretty good quality. It's been good to me for about a year and a half now, and it's kind of nice. I do have a lot left over, so if I ever have any different parts or new parts, I can always just wrap them, slap them on, and they all look the same. The engine bay is just spray painted black. Whenever I have the engine out, spray painted all black. Do kind of regret it a little bit, but at the same time, it's held up and looks pretty decent, so can't really complain. For the front bumper here, I have shaved front markers, because normally there's side markers right here, and then I do have the GV V2 style lip without the holes in it, so you ain't got to worry about having those holes in the bottom. Not a lot of people run this lip, and I think I'm the first person I've seen around my area that actually runs it. I think it looks pretty smooth. It brings it all the way down. You ain't got to have any extra weird little holes, and it still hangs down pretty low where it sits the side and equals up the side skirts there. For the rear bumper, I also have shaved side markers. I did the bumper cut, and then I did some custom side extensions to kind of bring it down, match the whole side of the car with the side skirts, and it just gives it that little extra drop down there. Also shaved the antenna. I have clear tail lights. I did have a custom D-Max hood. I do want to remake that again, or I might just put it back on and see. It's kind of hard to figure out. I'm still trying to figure out that. But I have a Pro Noble skid plate hiding underneath there, just to protect the oil pan, protect the subframe. It actually protects the steering rack too. It's got a little bit of a lip on the front, so it kind of helps protect all that. And then it's just got a front strut bar. So that's pretty much everything I have done to this car. And I actually want to do some driving clips with you guys, so you guys can kind of experience what it's like to drive this car and kind of hear what it sounds like. It's got no blow-off valve, so it's straight turbo flutter. It sounds amazing, and especially how small the turbo is, it just spools up instantly. So I think I'm gonna swap over to either the head cam or onto the back of the roll bar and do some driving clips with you guys, show you guys what it's like. A little turbo noise for you guys. Alright, well, I did this all on the head cam and it didn't seem to work, so I'm going to slap you guys on the roll bar because it seems to be the best spot. The head cam, you guys are just staring up at my black window banner up there, so that didn't seem to work. So let's go for a rip. Yes, the solid engine mounts do make a pretty good amount of noise. It is what it is. It's just part of the cons of having them, but they really just rattle the dash and the bumper right now. I don't know why they're rattling my bumper. It could just be because it's not completely bolted how it is factory. But other than that, I haven't had any really issues of any bolts falling loose or anything. So let's go out for a rip, show you guys what it's like. So this is the G-Race shifter. That's reverse right there. Might hear my hardtop kind of vibrating around back there. It's because I don't have the proper side mounts for it, and I need to kind of build like a DIY kit for it to kind of fix it. But other than that, I'm going to drive over there so we can go on like a little bit of a curvy road and get some rips. Alright, now that we're on a little bit more of a curvy road, I know there's a good little straight in the middle that I can kind of give you guys a good little pull. But other than that, just kind of enjoy the noises, see how it drives. It drives pretty stiff for the most part on these D-Max oils, surprisingly, so it's actually pretty nice. Now that everything's already warmed up for me driving earlier, it makes it super easy, so I don't have to worry about everything fix it, tweak it a little bit, then hop back in, look again, and it never will line up right. And then you always have some little kid at a show